Are you ready for the next chapter? It's called The Ancient Ones. So when we left off, Bruno Jenkins had just been shrunken down and turned into a mouse. The Grand High Witch stood on the very center of the platform, and those dangerous eyes of hers traveled slowly around the audience of witches who were sitting so meekly before her. "All those over 70, put up your hands," she barked suddenly. 7 or 8 hands went up in the air. "It comes to me," said the Grand High Witch, "that you ancient ones will not be able to climb high trees in search of Gruntel's eggs." "We won't, your grandness. We're afraid we won't," chanted the ancient ones. "Nor will you be able to catch the crab cruncher who lives high in the rocky cliffs," the Grand High Witch went on. "I can't exactly see you sprinting after the speedy cat springer either, or diving into deep waters to spear the blabbersnitch, or striding the bleak moors with a gun under your arm to shoot the grubberspot. You are too old and feeble to be doing such things." "We are," chanted the ancient ones. "We are, we are." "You ancient ones have served me well over many years," said the Grand High Witch, "and I do not wish to deny you the pleasure of bumping off a few thousand children just because you have become too old and feeble to make the recipe. I have therefore prepared personally with my own hands a limited quantity of delayed action mouse maker, which I will distribute to the ancient ones before you leave the hotel." So she's saying the recipe isn't hard to make, but a lot of the ingredients are very tough to get. And the ancient ones, which are all the witches who are over 70 or 80 years old, can't possibly dive deep in the water and climb high cliffs and trees to get all the ingredients. So she made them a limited quantity, a small amount of mouse maker for just the ancient ones. All the younger witches have to make their own. But she has mouse maker here in the hotel for the older witches. "Oh, thank you," cried the old witches. "You are far too good to us, your grandness. You are kind and thoughtful." "Here is a sample of what I am giving you," shouted the Grand High Witch. She fished around in a pocket of her dress and brought out a very small bottle. She held it up and shouted, "In this tiny bottle is 500 doses of mouse maker. Easy enough to turn 500 children into mice." So one tiny bottle can turn 500 kids into mice. I could see that bottle was made of dark blue glass and that it was very small, about the same size as the ones you can buy at the chemist with the nose drops in them. "Each of you ancient ones will get 2 of these bottles," she shouted. Thank you, O most generous and thoughtful one," chorused the ancient witches. "Not 1 drop shall be wasted." Yes, each of us will promise to squish and squallop and squiggle 1,000 children." "Our meeting is over," announced the Grand High Witch. "Here is the timetable for the remainder of the stay in this hotel. Right now, we must all go out to Sunshine Terrace and have tea with that ridiculous manager. Next, at 6 o'clock tonight, those witches who are too old to climb trees after Gruntel's eggs will report to my room to receive 2 bottles each of this mouse maker. My room number is 454. Do not forget it. Then, at 8 o'clock, all of you will assemble in the dining room for supper. We are the lovely ladies of the RSPCC, and they are setting up 2 long tables in the dining room especially for us. But do not forget to put cotton balls up your nose. That dining room will be full of filthy little stinky children, and without the nose plugs, their stink will be unbearable. Apart from that, remember to behave normally at all times. Is everything clear? Any questions?" I have one question, your grandness," said a voice in the audience. "What happens if one of those chocolates that we're giving away in our shops gets eaten by a grown-up. Well, that's just too bad for the grown-up, isn't it? Said the Grand High Witch. This meeting is over. Out you go, she shouted. The witches stood up and began gathering their things together. I was watching them through the crack and hoping to heaven they would just hurry up and leave so that I might be safe at last. This whole time, the narrator has been hiding behind that screen. He's in the same room. They've had the doors locked so he can't leave. He's just waiting for them to leave. The only thing that has saved him is that he hasn't taken a bath in a very long time. So the invisible stink waves can't really escape from the layer of like dirt. Wait! Shrieked one of the witches in the back row. Hold everything! Her shrieking voice echoed through the ballroom like a trumpet. All the witches suddenly stopped and turned and looked toward the witch who was speaking. She was one of the taller witches, and I could see her standing there with her head tilted back and her nose in the air. And she was sucking in great long breaths of air through those curvy, pink, seashelly nostrils of hers. Wait! She shouted again. What is it? Cried the others. Dog's droppings! She shouted. Just then, yes, I caught a whiff of dog's droppings. What? Surely not, cried the others. There couldn't be. Yes, yes, shouted the first witch. There it is again. Oh, it's not strong, but there it is. I mean, it's here. It's definitely somewhere not too far away. What's going on down there? Shouted the Grand High Witch, glaring down from the platform. Mildred's just got a whiff of dog's droppings, your grandness, someone called back to her. What rubbish is this? Shouted the Grand High Witch. Oh no, she has dog's droppings on the brain. There are no children in this ballroom. Hang on, cried the witch named Mildred. Hang on, everybody, don't move. I'm getting it again. Her huge curvy nose holes were weaving in and out like a pair of fish gills. It's getting stronger. It's hitting me harder now. Can't the rest of you smell it? All of the noses of the witches in that room went up in the air and all the nostrils began to suck and sniff. She's right, screamed another voice. She's absolutely right. Dog's droppings it is, strong and foul. In a matter of seconds, the entire assembly of witches had taken up the dreaded cry of dog's droppings. Dog's droppings, they shouted. The room is full of it. Pooh! Why could we not smell it before? It stinks like a sewer. Some little swine must be hiding not very far from here. Find it! Screamed the Grand High Witch. Track it down. Rottle it out. Follow your nose till you get it. The hairs on my head were standing up like bristles of a nail brush, and a cold sweat was breaking out all over me. Rottle it out, this small lump of dung, screamed the Grand High Witch. Don't let it escape. If it is in here, it has observed the most secret things of our plan. It must be exterminated immediately. This does not sound good for the narrator. Tune in tomorrow to find out what happens next.